Thank you. Thanks for the invitation. This has been an intense and stimulating couple of days. We have heard from a series of distinguished speakers how the policy and business communities and the civil society are responding to the agenda set by the Paris Agreement. I congratulate IDDRI on organizing such a timely and fruitful meeting. Besides being a magnificent demonstration of a French diplomacy in action, the Paris Agreement was a powerful signal of determination to get to grips with climate change. Less than 3 weeks ago, as all you are very aware, that political ambition was confirmed when 175 countries signed up to the accord, a record number of signatories for a new agreement. Next week, at the summer meeting of the UNFCCC, that subsidiary bodies, scientists, including the IPCC, and policymakers will be examining the information gaps that researchers need to address in the coming years and look at how the IPCC can fit into this policy process. The IPCC has been busy in this time too, and I would like to discuss with you the priorities and the challenges that the IPCC faces in the post-Paris period. The agreement and the related decisions shape our work in a number of ways. Firstly, COP21 invited the IPCC to produce a special report on the impacts of global warming of 1.5 degrees Celsius and the related emissions pathways. The COP also agreed that the global stocktake, the 5-year reviews of progress on curbing emissions to reach the global warming targets, will use the latest reports of the IPCC as one of its inputs. Last month, the IPCC met to map out its work plan for the coming years in the light of these developments. Most topically, as Zhang Zhuzhel mentioned, we accepted the invitation of the COP to produce the 1.5 degree report to be delivered in 2 years from now, 2018, just in time for the facilitative dialogue that the UNFCCC will hold that year. This will be highly policy relevant because at the time of our last comprehensive report, the 5th assessment report, there was relatively little information about the impact of 1.5 degrees warming, despite the fact that at that time the Working Group 3 analyzed 1,200 scenarios available at that moment. By the way, the Working Group 3 co-chair of last assessment is also present in this meeting. I recognize Yuba Sokona, currently Vice Chair of IPCC. The Paris decision to pursue efforts to limit warming to 1.5 degrees has catalyzed the research community, and there will be plenty of material for us to assess. Policymakers also asked us to undertake 2 further special reports in the coming years. One on climate change, oceans, and the cryosphere, looking at the interplay between the vulnerability of ice sheets and sea level rise, and one on climate change and desertification, land degradation, the sustainable land management, food security, and greenhouse gas fluxes in terrestrial ecosystems. This is highly policy relevant as weakening food and water security can undermine development and aggravate the forces leading to the human displacement, contributing to the instability. We will also update the methodologies that countries use to measure and report their greenhouse gas emissions and removals, crucial for tracking progress on their commitments under Paris. And we will produce future assessments in line with the 5-year rhythm of the global stocktake rather than the usual 6 to 7 years we have had so far. Our member states asked us to pay special attention in the 6th assessment report to the particular issues of climate change and cities. We're already housing over half the world's population. There are so many specific challenges and opportunities for adaptation and mitigation. Now, sometimes we hear the question like, why do we need another set of IPCC reports? After all, the last one was quite explicit that the human influence on the climate system is clear. This is an exact quote from the 5th assessment report. And then another quote, warming of the climate system is unequivocal. So the question is, why do we need another set of IPCC reports? Well, there are still many areas where our knowledge is incomplete. And I have already mentioned sea level rise, for example. Let me spell out a few of those research gaps that we need to explore in this